Let me know. Ain't no backing out, running out. I stay 10 toes. And you know, can't lose control. Ain't no backing out, running out. I'm with you without a doubt. What you talking about? Let me know how you feel. It's a dirty game in the field. I pray to God take the wheel. Cashing out me a meal. Yeah. Cause every day I wake up, I gotta get my cake up. My family depending on me. Got a lot of wants and needs. Counting up blue chips. All I need is you to be down for me. You the one that I need. So tired.
All right, y'all. Welcome back to the Spot the Ball podcast. It's your boy Ron Wells and your host,
Love the third.
coming to you live from the MyBillReview.com studios. MyBillReview.com saves you money on all your essential services needs. Give them a call, 561-281-6099. That is 561-281-6099. Well, we're recording a little bit later than we normally record because, you know, Thanksgiving holiday season, that type of thing. So you're actually going to get live reaction to us and the college football playoff rankings being announced, which is kind of cool. But normally you're catching us right before, about 4 or 5 hours before we record on something like that. But while we're waiting for the rankings to drop, here's what happened last week in college football. Of course, you're going to hear about us in NFL football. Sorry we didn't get you out of podcast last week. Had some technical difficulties. The NFL called us. Some highlights played in the background on YouTube, and they said,
We could not control, we did not see. We don't look behind us, and we got caught, man.
Yeah, man. But either way, we're going to recap the games from last week, talk a little bit about what went down, especially in the Big Three, because there's some implications. The offseason is almost upon us, and this is what Spot the Ball is genuinely about. You know, we love to give you insight into what's going on as it's happening. But we also want to give you insight to the back office of what college football and pro football and the NBA is all about. Hey, they freed Kyrie. By the way, they freed Kyrie. That's our NBA talk for the night. They freed Kyrie.
He said for the night.
But the long and short of it, college football rankings have just dropped. Looks like they got Georgia number 1, which they should be number 1. Number 2 is Ohio State. 3 is Michigan. Number 4 is TCU. Number 5 is LSU. Number 6 is USC. So they're giving USC brownie points for beating UCLA at UCLA. Look, UCLA's defense and their quarterback kind of let them down with the turnovers, but you got to give USC credit for points off of turnovers. LSU being number 5 means that...
That's disrespectful.
Yeah, kind of. But get this, Michigan and Ohio State play each other at 2 and 3. So if Michigan and Ohio State playing each other at 2 and 3, you know what that means? That's a knockout game, right?
It is, but what I'm saying disrespectful, it's disrespectful to Clemson because they are a one-loss team. Granted, it came to Notre Dame, but it's still a one loss. So you put LSU there at 5 with 2 losses. Maybe you basically saying that they got stronger wins than Clemson.
That's basically what they're saying.
But it's still Clemson definitely right there. They control their own destiny when it goes to getting there because they see championship.
Yeah, but even still, North Carolina dropping that L kind of hurts Clemson. So when you're looking at it, they got 6 USC, 5 LSU, 6 USC, 7 Alabama with 2 losses, which is crazy. 8 Clemson, 9 Oregon, 10 I didn't catch off the bat. Penn State, Washington, K-State, and Utah, and Notre Dame is at 15. So yeah, that's a little crazy to me. I'm sorry. Utah at 8 and 3 is only at 14. That's a little bit too much respect, seeing as how they lost to an unranked UF who just lost to Vandy. At the beginning of the season, they lost to them boys. Their only quality win is USC, and USC still ain't played nobody besides UCLA. It's like, hey, because we haven't seen you play nobody, we're giving you credit for that. I get Penn State being ranked as high as they are. Their only losses are to Michigan and Ohio State. I get that part. But Michigan and Ohio State, the only person they played is them. Florida State checks in at 16. UNC drops all the way down to 17.
That's a surprising loss.
Yeah, that was horrible.
Surprising loss.
That was horrible. I don't know how they pulled that loss off. UCLA at 18, 19, Tulane. So UCF's happy because that's their best win. A lot of Twitter beef with UCF and FSU fans last week because FSU was ranked. Because FSU was ranked higher than them. Like, how they rank higher than us? And they lose to Navy. Yeah, man.
You know, it's funny because when I was on my way to Miami, you would think I was in church. I went to a Saturday service.
Oh.
So I saw the first half of my Clemson game, but I didn't see the second half live. But yeah, no, because I had a couple of frat brothers, Central Florida, frat brothers that go to UCF. They went to the Classic, talking cash about Cookman getting beat by FAMU. And I said, meanwhile, UCF lost to Navy.
Yo,
nobody said a word. Nobody said a word.
Not even that they lost Navy. Navy only not completed. They attempted one pass.
That's terrible.
They didn't even complete a pass. They only attempted one, and they still lost. And they got bullied. I understand that triple option is one thing. There's a lot of window dressing, but y'all play them every year because y'all in the same conference. You know it's coming. It's like back in the day when Florida State used to play Georgia Tech. It wasn't no excuse for us to lose to them.
It wasn't. That wasn't excuse for nobody losing Georgia Tech.
You knew what you were doing.
Come on.
21 is Oregon State. I don't know how Oregon State's ranked this high, to be honest with you. Again, a team that's beat nobody and lost to everybody. UCF, of course, their biggest win is Tulane, but they dropped to 22, so they're still in the top 25. Texas is 23 after beating the brakes off of Kansas, who started off the year hot. 24 is Cincinnati. They're 9-2. They're getting the respect.
Surprise, Louisville.
I understand why.
That's a surprise.
Look, they keep beating the right people.
They playing good.
They beating the right people, but they losing to the wrong people.
Yeah,
so I get why Louisville's in the rankings. Louisville's strength of schedule, and then on top of who they're beating, they beat NC State, they beat Wake Forest. Florida State didn't beat Wake Forest and NC State, and they didn't beat Clemson, but neither did Louisville, but they beat Louisville. Louisville has horrible losses, but again, that's just the thing of the rankings. I think they're using the bottom of the rankings to justify the top, but the disrespect to Clemson is really, really bad. Clemson had one bad day, and you're crucifying them. USC lost to freaking Utah, and you're elevating them like nobody's business. That's crazy to me.
That's where it goes. Like we said, I'm hurt that we couldn't get the last week episode out to y'all, and we really dived into all this with how it may be a real crazy year with the 2 lost teams, 1 lost teams getting in there. And we were high on Tennessee, and we were saying that does Tennessee still squeak in because they was outside at 5 at the time.
Oh yeah,
and they took a tough loss and speedy recovery to Hendon Hooker.
Yeah, he's going to the NFL draft. First round
anyway.
Yeah.
But South Carolina did what they needed to do. And, kudos to South Carolina for going down and getting a dub. No excuses. But we were saying that at the time, Clemson was ranked, 14 in the rankings. And we said, do they elevate them all the way up to the top 5 because they still have 1 loss. And they're going to ACC Championship. And they very well could win that championship game. And so do you vault them that high? Now they're at 8, so you really control your own destiny. You go out there, you beat South Carolina this weekend, that beat Tennessee. Tennessee team, help your case. And then you go and, handle business and win the ACC championship. I feel like you're a definite lock inside. They gotta
get the style points. With Clemson, they gotta get the style points in both the UNC game, which UNC's defense is not very good at all. And then they got to get the style points versus South Carolina and hope Spencer Rattler turns back into Spencer Rattler that, other teams know and love. Because he has those moments. He's got a little bit of the Bo Nix on him. He's got a little bit of the E.J. Manuel on him where he's very, very good, looks like an elite quarterback prospect, and then turns around and has games like he did against UF. So, you wouldn't have noticed, but Spencer Rattler played UF the weekend before and was utterly garbage. He made a defensive line look like a Heisman Trophy candidate. He was terrible.
And then to speak this even to being that we mentioned Florida, man, Vanderbilt. I'm mad that we couldn't get this out to y'all, but I spoke on this. I said,
no, we both did.
Vandy might be riding high out for that Kentucky win. And it'll be something they get 2 in a row. And we weren't 100% sure, but we definitely leaned that way. If they celebrate the right way and don't have a hangover, they very well can beat Florida. And they did.
Now, here's the thing about the Vandy game. I'm in my another chat, and we're talking about the Vandy game. Vandy could have been up about 24 points. But because Vandy doesn't have the depth of, say, a regular P5 school, because Vanderbilt is built on education. They're like Stanford. They're like Notre Dame. They don't have all that depth, but they also don't have the tradition of a Notre Dame or a Stanford. So they only have their front line of guys. So when they get tired and they're bringing in guys that are trying to, give them some wind, They look like a high school team or a HBCU. No offense to HBCUs, but you get where I'm coming from. Like, they don't have the guys, the Jimmys and the Joes.
Right.
But they stayed up on UF from the most part that entire game by 10 points. Like, they were the better coached team against UF. And the fact that, UF got an untimed down out of nowhere. Their player got caught inbounds with 2 seconds remaining, and they still let them get off a play with Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson still botched it and threw it through the back of the end zone through the goalpost. Like, he thought it was a field goal attempt and threw it out the back of the end zone. I cannot wait. It is rivalry week. UF versus Florida State this weekend.
Statement, man.
Friday night lights, under the lights, Florida State versus UF. Rivalry week is all across college football. You got South Carolina playing Clemson, Auburn and the Iron Bowl versus Alabama.
I don't know. We really got a rivalry game this weekend, man. But we
got Pitt.
We always play them at the end of the year.
But
so
Pitt
I would
consider
it.
It's Big East football. It's back in the day, Big East football.
I would consider it because you always play Pitt last week of the year. That's under the lights too, man. Saturday night football at Miami, Hard Rock Stadium. Pack the stadium. It's see night. Come see you, boys. We need to cheer on to ball eligibility.
He's a fan. He's a fan.
I will be there. Hopefully we win. I just told somebody, man, 2 out of 3 games I done went to the Hard Rock. We done lost. We need to even out. I need 500. I said, only game we won that I went to was against Cookman. It's not good. I went to North Carolina.
Yeah, man, just enjoy your family and seeing the seniors go out on a
family. It make my family gonna be back at the crib. I'm gonna enjoy the festivities.
Just enjoy the fact that some guys stayed at UM and got degrees.
Amen.
Because that Miami degrees, it goes a long way.
And we gonna talk about the transfer portal at the end of the episode. It's a exodus.
It's starting to cook.
Now.
It's starting to cook. But Florida plays Florida State this week.
Mm-hmm.
Florida State's riding high. They haven't lost since their bye week. They knocked off Georgia Tech, Syracuse, Miami, Louisiana. So we own the state of Louisiana. We beat LSU and we beat Louisiana.
Trying to get the state of Florida.
And we number one in the state of Florida for the first time since 2017 or 2018. That's the first time we've been number one in the state of Florida since then.
I wish Miami would play Florida on a regular basis.
Look. It is what it is. It's how you become kings of state when you don't avoid nobody like the Gators do.
Yeah.
They
swear they don't though.
They are. UF is forced by Florida statute to play Florida State. Otherwise, that game would not happen. It is literally in the bylaws of the state that they have to play us. Since I've been born, both series, Florida State leads in Miami and Florida State. But hey, that history goes further than
since he's been born.
Since 37 years. We won those series. But either way, Florida State plays Florida. Look, it was going to take at least 3 turnovers for Florida to beat Florida State. Florida can't stop the run. They got bullied by Vandy. Florida State yards after contact. Their running backs as a room are combined the best in the nation. They have the 3rd best back after contact with Trey Benson. They have the 6th best back with Trayshawn Ward, who came back last game in the nation yards after contact. We don't go down. On defense, we are on defense. We are now the number 11th ranked defense in the nation.
So we don't go down.
Yeah, but other people do. Meanwhile, on defense, we're number 11 in the nation, number 5 against the run. Number 5 against the pass, number, I think, 19 against the run. So top 20 defense. And we just played the Billy Jits, Louisiana, who Billy Napier was just. Hey, that's what they are. They the Billy Jits. Because they literally elevated their offensive coordinator to the head coach role. And we just literally played Billy Napier's offense. So I expect Florida State to win. Might be big again, but that's pretty much the game of the week when it comes to Florida State. Now, Miami plays Pitt. We touched on that a little bit. Look, I'm going to let you talk about your guys. Pitt has a running back, though, that I really, really like. And their defensive front is top 5 in sacks.
Who said I want to talk about
in top 15 in defense.
Listen, I said I'm going to the game. I ain't said I wanted to talk about it.
Okay, so look.
Hey,
Man.
look. I mean, no, I will say this though, and I'm pretty sure you can agree with me on this point, on a non-biased standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Man, just the game against Clemson, they went up big early, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I said again, I couldn't see the second half live. So when I checked the score again, I saw it was 26-10. So that means second half defense really like stood up. You feel me, for a while before they finally broke, because your offense cannot.
Kitchens got a forced a fumble on a tight end. He was carrying the ball like a loaf of bread.
DJ got a pick, so it's like the defense from this Mount Hurricane team, it ain't like tops in the country, but it's still a good defense. Now, if you could have got complimentary football throughout the year, I told somebody this day, I said maybe they win 2 more games this year.
Mm-hmm.
But
I agree with that part.
It's like that. The offense was definitely stagnant, as high as always been just Clemson. But this has been a whole year where it's been historically bad. It's totally one of the worst offenses that Miami has had in Miami football history. And so I felt like if you had a better offensive showing, I want to say we will win the game. But it was 26-10, and they had the ball in Clemson territory. That could have, if you scored, that could have maybe made the game a different game again. But that's just being hypothetical at the same time.
No, I get your hypothetical. I'm not knocking your hypothetical. Here's the problem with it.
Mm-hmm.
Watching that game, Clemson was clunky, and DJ missed a throw where your boy got the interception, and the fumble was just a mistake on the other side, but you guys forced it.
Even still, Jakari missed the first throw of the game. It would have been a touchdown. The very first play, or second play. I'm sorry, they ran the ball first play.
Until Jakari.
Okay.
Until Jakari makes a throw, I can't say he missed the throw. Can I say that?
It's wide open. You got to make it. You have to.
I
felt like it was more so for him to deer in the headlights. Look, he tried to be as poised as he could.
Does he have any shoulder injuries that I don't know about?
Not that I know of.
Okay, so he's just a very inaccurate person.
Oh no, his throwing accuracy has always been the talking point to improve upon.
Okay,
like it's no doubt he has an arm. It's just the touch and accuracy, because even still, and I believe in Georgia Tech game, he missed a stripper in the red zone, overthrew it. So it's really the touch and accuracy. It
would have been a great timing and a response to Clemson's opening drive.
Mm-hmm.
Look. I think Pitt is a 9-point favorite, if I'm not mistaken.
Listen, I don't doubt it.
I
don't even want to look at it, but I don't doubt it.
Look, it's gonna be rough. If y'all don't win this game, y'all ain't going bowling. The best believe I'm gonna ride all off season.
Yeah,
y'all came at me.
For a couple years, it was a couple years for y'all, so it's okay.
Yeah, but that was a couple years after 40
years
years of straight bowls. We were winning bowl games instead of just making them.
I was Pittsburgh Gaddis. You know the boys been sitting in the blitz. Protect the young boy. Please protect the young boy, because I know you know what's coming. I know it's coming.
I don't have Josh Gaddis conversations anymore. I've made my point.
Listen, I know you know it's coming from, because they know you got a young boy back there. You miss off his lineman. They're going to try to kill that little boy. And you can't do it.
He's not a look. He's a dude. He's young. But at the end of the day, look, man.
It was what it was, man. I told you what the outcome was going to be. I wasn't expecting anything different.
You make a bowl, because if you don't, that's going to be our whole off-season conversation.
No,
for me, it is.
Every time you say something to me, listen, every time you refer to me, I'm going to say refer to Josh Gaddis. Refer all your questions to Josh Gaddis. All your statements to Josh Gaddis. Don't come to me.
I'm coming.
Don't come to me.
Now, we talked about the Big Three because 2 of the Big Three play each other. The games of this week, Alabama versus Auburn. Auburn is playing inspired-ish football. But at the end of the day, Alabama's probably going to win in the Iron Bowl. USC versus Notre Dame. This is the test that I was waiting for USC to have.
Notre Dame, knock them boys off, please. Let's stop all this now. Just knock them boys off. Please do.
Look, Notre Dame, the only thing I'm going to say is with USC, if they beat Notre Dame, they get my respect, at least for that week. They have to go and repeat.
They got to win the championship.
They got to repeat it and win the Pac-12 championship. Notre Dame has a real defense. Notre Dame, after a big win, struggled a little bit in their last game as well, but they pulled out the win versus military academy. I forget who they played. And I don't want to. It wasn't Navy. It probably was Army. But Army has a really good offense. At the end of the day, if Notre Dame stops USC, it stops all this who USC is and the whole Pac-12 and who they are as a whole. Because they're only playing against each other and people are elevating them. And I've been watching these games and no defense is being played. On the other side of things, Tennessee is out. We already know that. South Carolina plays Clemson. We're assuming Clemson is going to wipe the floor with South Carolina after a big win. Who else is playing this week, college football-wise, on rivalries? Sorry, the big game. Michigan and Ohio State. Mm-hmm. Blake Corum hurt himself a little bit at the end of the Illinois game. Illinois kept that game close. I wish you would have saw the episode because that was one of the picks we had. And we said Illinois would play defense and keep it close, and they did that. Illinois was kind of robbed in that game. I'm not even going to lie. Michigan should have lost. There was a couple penalties. Brett Bielema touched on it as well. That Michigan probably shouldn't have gotten in their favor, and then they didn't call a hold towards the end of the game versus Michigan on a third down attempt, which would have repeated it down, and Michigan probably wouldn't have made it. Blake Corum looks like he's going to play in the Michigan versus Ohio State game, in the big game. If he's playing and he's right, I'm picking Michigan. I don't think Ohio State has played a defense like Michigan's.
I don't know. I like Marvin Harrison, man. Marvin Harrison Jr.
Them boys can defend the pass,
I
bro.
got it, but that man.
I know he's good, but
different.
Everybody's different when it comes to receiver at Ohio State. The difference is that Michigan played them last year and kind of stymied that a little bit.
I don't know. Like I said,
Can Ohio State stay balanced enough now that they're down 2 running backs? They're down to their third string running back.
Like we said, Michigan shouldn't have came out of that game last week.
They shouldn't have, but Illinois' defense ain't nothing to play with. And Ohio State didn't play them.
I like Ohio State, man.
All right, this is where we're going to disagree.
I like Ohio State, man.
I'm riding with Michigan, not because it's my grandfather's team. I'm riding with Michigan because I really think they can pull it off.
Because it's his grandfather's team. Mm-hmm. Don't let this man lie to you. Please don't. But nah, like I said, I mean, that's a big implication. Like, both teams going to come out ready. Both teams going to have to come out and play because it's like, bro, you don't win, that's a wrap. Because it's the last week of the season, so that's
I don't see them being
the wrong time.
I don't see them putting in 2 Big Ten teams, especially with how the strength of schedule is riding out. Like, when you think about it, Penn State, Illinois, Michigan, and Ohio State are the only good teams in that place, right? In that conference. Nobody respects Iowa, who just made the Big Ten title game. So, because Iowa don't know what the forward pass is. I'm sorry.
Scoring his, bro.
Yeah, they having issues, and I get it. They're getting better, but they're still not good enough. And if Iowa beats Michigan or Ohio State in the Big Ten title game, that's a house of cards waiting to fall. I'm sorry.
Iowa in the championship, in the playoffs. Do it.
Yo, I don't even know if Iowa's ranked. I don't think I called their name on that screen, did I?
No. You should not have.
Okay, then. So, I'm looking back at it, right? I'm just thinking about it right now. Ohio State and Michigan strength of schedule is hinging on them playing. And it only hinges, the only linchpin for Michigan is they played both Illinois and Penn State. So if your linchpin is Illinois, if Illinois takes a loss, if Iowa somehow finds out a way to beat both of them, either one of them, that whole conference falls on itself. I'm already skeptical about the Pac-12. You couldn't beat UF. Your toughest opponents are like Fresno State and Tulane. Like that, outside of you guys playing each other, you guys have nothing. You lost to UGA opening weekend. Y'all out of conference is whack. So if you come into this thing and you don't finish the job, Notre Dame finishes you off after we know they lost to Marshall, like, you got some real issues because Clemson's only bad loss is Notre Dame. Notre Dame's a bad loss for Clemson. But all of a sudden, it's going to be a good win for USC?
Exactly.
Come on, please make this make sense.
Exactly.
So, like, we sitting here thinking about this. LSU has a loss to Florida State, who's now ranked 16, who lost to 3 ranked opponents. Like, that is And they lost 3 ranked opponents by less than 10 points. A total combined points of Florida State's 3 losses is 17 points. So if you're looking at LSU, who only has the Florida State loss and the Tennessee loss, when Tennessee was the hottest thing under the sun, I'm just looking at this. I'm like, man, how do you have USC ranked so high? Their best win is a 2-loss UCLA. And UCLA ain't beat nobody but Utah.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm letting you got the floor. That's the way to cap it off, man. That's the way to cap off the college section, because that's a lot of questions that we will get answered this weekend.
All right.
So
pro football again. We didn't get to get you out our picks because the NFL is the big bad boogeyman, and I understand why I would be the big bad boogeyman if I was the NFL.
But we're gonna get you a parlay for this week anyway.
Yeah, man.
So
let's go with the matchups. Who you got?
So what I curated, we got the Ravens -4 against the Jaguars in Jacksonville.
Oh, I'm definitely taking the Ravens. I'll lay the points.
Okay,
yeah, I'm definitely laying the points.
So we did. You got Bucks -3.5 versus Cleveland.
Cleveland seems like they've given up, but is Watson coming back this week or next week? No, he comes back against Houston. So another week without Watson. Yeah, I'm gonna lay the points. I'm giving it to the Bucks. It seems like the Bucks have kind of found their way after the bye week.
Texans versus Dolphins. It's a 13.5 points for the Dolphins. I'm just taking the money line.
Ooh,
I'm just taking the money line.
Points.
I'm just taking the money line.
Yeah, I got to take the money line. The NFL it really is a really close league.
So then we got Raiders versus Seahawks. Seahawks -3.5.
Oh, I'm taking the Seahawks. The Raiders have quit.
Cool. We money line or we taking points?
I'm laying the points. I'm willing to lay the points on that. They quit.
Right.
The Seahawks had a loss, but they still been playing hard.
Rams versus Chiefs. Chiefs -14.5.
The Rams just cut Henderson, their best running back, and left Cam Akers on the roster. I'm still trying to figure this out. Now, Cam Akers can play football. Don't get it twisted. But they benched him, essentially, and then cut the running back that they benched him for.
That is a struggling offense.
And Cooper Kupp's still hurt, right?
Mm-hmm. He's going 6 to 8 weeks.
I'll lay the points with the Chiefs. This is the only time where I feel like, no offense to Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald and that defense. Look, I get it, but you ain't getting no help.
Cause look, we're not gonna disagree this week on the parlay. We're locking in.
Yeah, we're locked in for all 5.
Because why? I'm gonna say I'm taking the points too. Because a couple weeks ago, I put LA on my ticket to beat the Cardinals. A battle of 2 backup quarterbacks. The reason why I picked LA was because of the defense.
And they let you down.
Because of the defense. That's why I chose LA. One, because what the offense was. That's the game Cooper Kupp went out. It wasn't because your offense. It was because your defense. And y'all had Colt McCoy on the other side. So I'm banking on y'all boys. Hey, that's Clem. It's Colt McCoy. Yo. Y'all still go out there and lose by 10 points.
When you finish that rant, it's something about Colt McCoy that hit Twitter yesterday. That was so mean.
Because of Jimmy G, and then they had on him. I saw Jimmy G, that boy clean. That boy clean.
Somebody had a caption that said, "It's mean that you would follow Jimmy G after Colt McCoy. And if you've seen Jimmy G, the ladies, y'all have seen Jimmy G, you don't even know you're a football player."
That boy clean.
That boy.
Had the Easter pink suit on. That boy clean.
But somebody retweeted it, right? And they said, "You're not married, so maybe you don't know this." But they said, Colt McCoy, everybody know, you can't follow Jimmy G with Colt McCoy, but everybody know in a Hallmark movie, Jimmy G is the guy that the girl leaves to go date Colt McCoy. I was like, yo!
That's how it works.
So when y'all watching the Freeform movies, 25 Days of Christmas,
come on,
think about Colt McCoy and Jimmy G.
Come on. So that's our parlay for the week. We're not disagreeing this week. We locking in. We gonna stick beside each other. But so we're doing a little bit differently this last segment.
Ooh, child.
We're not gonna do the skewed picks this week. We're going to get into this thing called the transfer portal, and it's starting to heat up. It's starting to become a mass exodus in a lot of programs. Well, he was speaking on Trey Sanders going into the portal earlier. You got Donnell Harris Jr. that was a one-time Miami commit from Texas A&M. He's in the portal. You have at least 4 players from Miami that's already in the portal. Gilbert Frierson, Allen Hayes Jr., Thad Franklin.
Some Elijah kid?
Elijah Roberts.
Yeah.
Keyshawn Smith ain't went yet, but he's going. I'm going to tell you now. He's going. Mario said, pick up your kids. If any parent is unhappy with their kid playing time, You are very welcome to come pick up your kids. It's so much so they making it a hashtag on Twitter. PUYK. Pick up your kids. You got mamas players on the team. Hashtag, not just because mama said something, and then hashtag PUYK.
Wow.
It's getting real in that Miami program right now. It's mass access there. And they just offered this 6'2" kid receiver from the FCS program. This thing is Texas Commerce something. But he got like 1,000 yards on the year. His big body.
Transfer portal is one of those things where it gets hot in the off season. So here's some of the rules that you need to know about the transfer portal and how it's going to fit inside what's coming up with early signing day. So transfer portal works like this, people. If you're at your current school or institution and you are a graduate, whether it be from August, the summer, or coming up in December, you can get into the transfer portal now and be eligible for programs to pick you up between now and the 21st. I'm sorry, eligible now to be picked up, period. But you want to get ahead of the rush because on December 7th, that's when all eligible transfers can actually be in the portal. Now, this is a big deal because now you have NIL, name, image, and likeness actually factoring into it. What that means is players can make money off of their name, image, and likeness, whether it be endorsement deals, car dealerships, that type of thing, everything people have been fighting over.
I want to stop you because it's funny you said that. I just screenshot this post earlier. And this was speaking on Tennessee. Now, I don't know how true this is, but I just happened to see it.
Oh, I saw it.
It was saying that according to OfferTennessee.com, it is believed that a large portion of the Tennessee team quit on the team after a player was suspended for a fight over NIL money. They stated that there are two rumors. One, that linebacker Jeremy Banks was suspended internally after a physical altercation with backup quarterback Joe Milton, in which Milton may have broken Banks' jaw. And another that states that altercation was between Banks and star quarterback Hendon Hooker. The volunteer defense allegedly quit on the team over Banks' suspension. When asked about this directly in the press conference, Heupel dodged the question, saying, "We anticipate Jeremy being with us here this week. As far as what transpired and those type of things, at the end of the day, he wasn't available this past Saturday." Also to note, in the post-game presser, following the Gamecocks beatdown of the Volunteers, they went there, Heupel said he hoped the loss would sting more for the players that didn't make the trip, which came after Chris Fowler reported Banks was out for unspecified reasons.
Yeah, I saw that post. Here's my thing. Again, these aren't verified sources. Yeah, you might have that jealousy in the program over national name, image, and likeness, but I don't care. You want to know why I don't care? Because you got people who don't influence the game as much as the players, making more than the players. So I'm not really, I'm okay with that. What you need to do is establish a culture for your program. Number one. Number two, if that happened before the South Carolina game, which it sounds like it did, Josh Heupel still hasn't gotten in all his guys. This is his second season. And the best deodorant for anything in a program is what? Winning. And those boys were winning. So when you have Jeremy Pruitt's guys, that he's winning with most of them. Now, granted, he brought in Hendon Hooker, thought he might not be good enough, and brought in another one, Milton, another quarterback, Milton, on the roster. He brought in Jalen Hyatt. He brought in the guys that you're seeing perform in this program. But you still have a program that is not mostly his guys. And you're going through it right now where you're seeing a mass exodus where you already have 4 players. You're probably looking at about 14 players that are probably going to leave your roster due to attrition.
Good 40%.
And with Florida State, the last 3 years, including the COVID year, Florida State has flipped their roster with over 40 guys have left the roster in 3 seasons. So with that being said, you got to augment that with portal guys. But you also have to augment it with prep guys as well. Just to give, a glimpse into it all, I'm in year 3, about to go into year 4. You're in year 1, where you've added some portal guys with Parrish and things like that, but you still need to add more guys. You also added a prep class, and you have a really good prep class. They still need to sign. They got a month till they sign. The National Early Signing Day period starts the 21st of December. It is a month away. So this is the timeline. You got a grad transfer, you can start signing with teams now for next season. We have one with Kazai Holmes who signed as early as the first week of the season, second week of the season, running back from Penn State out of Cocoa. You got Josh Braun from UF, who's already graduated. He's married. He's making his rounds around the country. He visited Florida State last week. You got a couple of other guys that have entered the portal with graduate transfers. So that is the first part of the portal that's hopping off right now. You got guys making their intent to enter the portal who have not gotten degrees. Like 4 of the 5 players from Miami don't have degrees. One does.
Gilbert has a degree.
Exactly. So he can actually sign with somebody. Again, NIL money is going to play a factor in this. Money's not going to necessarily dry up because you got 114 teams eligible to pay you. Where you need to find out is players like Trey Sanders and the connections, where they're connected to, who you want to go play for, who's going to make you draft eligible, where's your clear pathway to play. Players, NIL can be used to retain players like a Jordan Travis who, you know what, quite frankly, might be sick of being in college. Not so much, hey, I'm going to go play pro football, or maybe I'll be a backup on a team. Maybe I'll stay another year because I'm going to get $1 million to stay for another year. I'm just throwing out numbers. I don't know the real numbers, guys.
I'm about to say that's wealthy.
So with that being said, would you rather stay at a college you love with your last year of eligibility and improve your draft stock, be a Heisman candidate, like a Hendon Hooker who stayed all that time? Or would you like to go and be pro and get a third to a day 3 grade and check your chances at being a backup quarterback?
Bouncing around, practice squad.
You're going to need all these backup quarterbacks for all these quarterbacks now who are mobile. It's no longer the pocket passer. Colt McCoy is just mobile enough to be somebody's backup. Like,
that man's a vet, man. He instilled a lot in the locker room as well. So
yeah, man. And, it's one of those things where you're looking at the portal. You got Trey Sanders who just hopped in the portal. Everybody's adding him right now because he was a former 5-star running back who couldn't crack the top 2 of Alabama's room. If anybody knows anything about Alabama, they run 2 running backs out there, not a third. Florida State's a rare exception where we run 3 running backs out there who have over 600 yards. It's rare. Mike Norvell just rotates them. I used to be like, man, just running back, run the ball. Yeah, now I see why.
Hot hand go, man.
Yo, it's not even hot hand go. It's, hey, I'm just rotating people in because I want to make sure that we're not running tread off your tires. And you see the fruits of his labor. You got your boy in Dallas, Pollard, is a Mike Norvell running back. He was a 3rd round pick.
Michael Irvin killed me on first take this week, bro.
Antonio Gibson over at the Commanders, 3rd round running back from Mike Norvell.
Brian Robinson might be taking control over that soon.
Yeah, but even still, he's still there producing.
100%.
And then Henderson, he just got cut from the Rams, but he was a 3rd round running back from Mike Norvell. So you're going to get into the league, at least through that system, and not have no tread on your tires to actually make an impact. Henderson was an impact player for that Super Bowl winning team last year. Nobody can question that. We're trying to figure out why Cam Akers ain't playing. Is it the Achilles? Is it this? It's Henderson.
You can't tank because
they gave up their 1st round pick.
Lions got your pick. And the Lions, they ain't taking, but they're already going to have a good 1st round pick.
And then on top of that too, they have the ammunition to not only grab a quarterback, not even gonna get another pass rusher like a Tim Williams.
Detroit, we said earlier, man, Detroit might be a year or 2 away, bro.
They just might. They got so much draft capital. And it's not just from the Rams. They got draft capital everywhere. We're going to talk a little bit more about the NFL draft when a little bit further down the road in January. But for right now.
Yeah, buddy, a worst case scenario, top 10 pick. I still can't believe you said that.
Who?
You. When you talking, I forgot who you was talking about. You said, man, worst case scenario, he's top 10 pick. And I was like, worst case scenario? That is a great scenario.
Oh,
I forgot who he was talking about. He talking about, yeah, worst case scenario, he's top 10 pick.
I can't remember who.
I forgot who you was
we got to go back and check the tape, but I get it. But that is a worst case. That is a worst case. I think that's Tim Williams we were talking about at the time. But no, Hendon Hooker probably. Yeah, either one. Look, Hendon Hooker is going to go top 15. He can run enough. He has a really good arm. He has good arm angles. He throws in the gap really well. Look, I feel bad for the guy for having an ACL injury. That's tough. But he wasn't going to play in the bowl game anyway. So this week was going to be his final week of the season regardless. Where it is what it is. I feel bad for him. I really do. But now he gets to train for the combine. He gets to have his surgery. Train for the combine. Be ready. Hopefully he can get the medical rechecks and come out his pro day, March, April, and really show out for the league. I have no doubt he's still going to be a 1st round pick. He's just progressed too much. He really has.
Mature.
As mature as all get out. Yeah. he got that Joe Burrow in him when it comes to that maturity level.
Joe Shiesty.
Joe Shiesty, by the way, this weekend against Pittsburgh. Finally, hey, yo, your boy Najee Harris had a touchdown finally. God, dog. He a couple. He's on my team.
Oh, man. Yo, bro, fantasy, oh, my God.
Hey, look,
Oh, my God.
Hey, you remember how I told you my fantasy, the way fantasy football works for me is on 4 leagues. I finished last, I finished first, and I'm in the middle. I'm top 5 in all 4 leagues for the first time.
I just got knocked out of first place. I'm in second place now, man. I was 8-2. And I said, I said it, I'm like, bro.
I'm just like making the playoffs.
I said I might lose because the matchup is tough. I had Nick Chubb going against Buffalo. I had Miles Sanders. Didn't know he was going to struggle like that against Indy. Or Philly in general was going to struggle like that against Indy. Did not see that coming. I was going back and forth between Christian Watson and Deontay Foreman. Messed around with Deontay Foreman. He only gave me 2 points. Christian Watson, I can't really get mad because he didn't have a big day. He just had the 2 touchdowns that bolstered him up to 20 points. But then this is what take the cake. Kirk Cousins only gave me 2 points.
Oh, how about this? All week long, they said Kyler was playing. And then Monday night, they said he wasn't. I couldn't put Jimmy G on my roster because I had TJ Watt on injury reserve. And they just cleared him off of injury reserve
So you had
list.
to take him off of injury
I
reserve.
couldn't take him off because it was too late because Pittsburgh had already played. They didn't announce Kyler Murray's injury until Monday night. An hour before the game.
You're not, but see,
Is the boy playing Call of Duty?
You gotta be. Gotta be. Cause I look early in the before I put anything on that game I wanted to see and look at the report, it was saying that Kyler wasn't gonna play early in the morning, the report I saw from Bleacher Report. So I left that alone. But it gotta be. The new joint came out, the man been hurt for a while. I don't know what's going on. One, what you seeing, bro?
Yeah.
What you seeing out there, bro? You try to yell D-Hop. I ain't know D-Hop gonna get off on that boy. What you seeing, bro? So I mean, man. Yeah, I took a tough L in fantasy. But this transfer portal, this college football season, within the next 2-3 weeks, man, you're going to get a lot of content from out of us because we're going to get what these championship games are going to be. But then we're going to start getting these bowl matchups. So it's going to be fun. And then a lot of more people can enter this portal. So
And then recruiting, man. Here's the thing. We're hitting the finish line, but early signing day for the first time because December is so delayed. They usually wait till the third Thursday in December. Because December 1st is on a Thursday, the portal doesn't start until the 21st. So because the portal doesn't start until the 21st, there are no games being played. And your lasting impression, if you are University of Florida, if you're University of Miami, if you're Florida State, if you're Alabama, if you're whomever, if you finish rough,
it's going to be tough.
These kids, I'm sorry, these young people, I'm going to stop using kids.
Young men.
Yeah, these young men.
Adolescents.
Who are watching you on the prep level and even in the portal. It takes about a month for them to recognize what you did the month prior. So, like you saw the flip of Rashada, it took a while for that stuff to happen, but he probably was just checking on the Middle Tennessee State game or some other game or how the offense was.
Rashada flipped to a team that's going through the same problem.
And now he's flipped to a team going through the same problems, like you said, and the Gators lost to Vandy. They might take it on the head against us. The only good win they have, if you want to say it's a good win, is South Carolina because Texas.
Rashada the cow.
So this is what I'm going at right now.
I'm going to cow.
Finishing the season rough.
It's gonna be.
And people actually want people that are on Miami's board, who are on Florida State's board, who are on UF's board.
Because one thing I can say is to the point now, I think talent evaluation, like scouting, might be on maybe
high alert.
The higher level that it's been as a unit collectively between 3 universities, as high as it's been in many years.
Yeah, and then
years.
And you're watching the evaluation happen in real time.
Mm-hmm.
Like we had to show, like Florida State just got Brock Glenn from Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
Brock Glenn would have chosen Florida State. He was telling people at Elite 11 he was going to Florida State, and then 2 weeks later he's at Ohio State.
Yeah.
And more than likely it was because Ohio State was telling him Mike Norvell's on the hot seat going into the season.
He had a good year.
And now Norvell has a good year. Starts off the year 4-0, loses 3, finishes off the season. Looks like he's going to finish off the season with 6 straight wins. So when you're looking at this evaluation, Kids want to see proof of concept. If your last proof of concept was you finished the season with a 2-game losing streak with the Gators and you barely make a bowl, what are you selling to them?
Yeah, cause like I said, on Miami, I think selling to them, they got kids that's coming in that's willing to and want to take these boys' spots. And they out here saying on social media, look, man, we coming to take jobs. We coming to take spots.
Well, they're going to get a lot of reps, but you got to be real diligent about, like Florida State's going through this issue now. Julian Armello's not playing against the UF because they don't want to burn his red shirt. A.J. Duffy, they kept him out of a lot of games because they wanted him to get the experience of playing against UF if it happens to get to blowout.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to balance out. Y'all burning a lot of red shirts this year because of what happened with the roster, which you weren't expecting.
Yeah,
so roster management, again, this is why you come to Spot the Ball, because our most interesting takes will be in the offseason when we're talking more NBA in season, but you're going to get a lot of NFL, college football, and prep level recruiting coverage here on Spot the Ball. Like, you're going to get the transfer portal. You're going to get to learn about some of these people going to the transfer portal. You're going to learn about some of these late additions to recruiting boards. Like in Palm Beach County right now, Michael Mays is probably reevaluating if he's going to Wake Forest or he's going to come to Florida State as that fourth receiver. DJ Holmes, the sack artist out of Pahokee. Like, I don't know what's going on with him, but the boy got 30 sacks this year. Had 19 last year. One of the most explosive pass rushers I've seen.
Boy, different down there.
Yo, look, I don't know if it's academics that's holding them up, but Louisville just tossed out their offer. Pitt let them visit last offseason in May. Man, I wish you come to Florida State because I need that depth. I need that depth in my room.
Anybody take that?
I'm atting Odell Higgins. Get that boy over there. John Papuchis. Y'all need to figure out a way to get that boy eligible into my room. Because, man, I tell you, that boy is fire.
A lot of Palm Beach teams are definitely very well represented right now.
Oh, my God.
In the playoffs. And,
I mean, even in Vero, like a little bit up the road, Vondravius Jacobs, like that boy, All Day Dre, he's a leading receiver in the state of Florida.
And like I was telling my brother a couple days ago, I said, it's rare you see two Palm Beach teams meeting up in the third round.
Yeah.
This is very rare. And so,
like, this was a tough playoff run with Benjamin losing to Newman, and Newman's team is tough,
man.
Look,
so like I say, Gardner's playing Central.
Yeah.
And Central is be putting up numbers on people.
But Central been putting up numbers on a lot of people.
They put up 46 first round against Jupiter, 55 on Marjorie Stone Douglas.
Yep.
And they beat Gardner.
Well, Marjorie Stone Douglas but they had a battle with San Lucia that was 48-44.
Like also like history repeats itself, and it's be biased. You going through Gardens, you lose to a team in the regular season, you naturally whoop them in the playoffs.
Yeah, because you had a chance to look at them.
So hopefully the young boys get right and beat them boys in the playoffs, but then the winner's going to have to see either Columbus or Doyle Academy. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't get no easier. So that 4M bracket is tough.
Man, all that stuff is tough in this state. And as much as people want to say it, man, Florida just dominates the state. Dominates the college landscape when it comes to who's putting talent on your rosters in key positions. I just talked to someone on Twitter. They were talking about, yeah, Florida State wants Bama in a bowl game. I'm like, nah, we don't want that. And I'm not saying Florida State's not ready. We having a really good season. Don't get it twisted. But I'd much rather not hang with them. I want to beat them. And our roster's not there yet.
To compete at that level.
And Bryce Young is a bad man. Even if he doesn't play, their quarterback that's behind him, he's a bad dude too. Florida State can hang with them. I'm not doubting that. They hung with Clemson. What I'm saying is that I know we can whoop up on USC. We didn't already show we can play with LSU. I'm sure we can play with Ohio State or Michigan. I'm sure of that. But Alabama and UGA have the depth of talent that comes from this state. And when the response to my response to them, which was they have that depth, is that they said, what about when Bobby Bowden was there? We play anybody, anywhere. I said, yeah, because Bobby Bowden took advantage of the mass migration to the South, and Florida in particular. When those people were leaving the Rust Belt in Michigan, this is just a little history lesson. They came to Florida. And the mass migration left from Florida. They may have went to Atlanta or Houston, but they didn't leave the state in droves. And when you're looking at the state of Florida, that Nebraska team that started Florida State's ascension in 1980 that we whooped up on, guess how many players they had from the state of Florida?
Too many.
No, I'm talking about Nebraska. How many players Nebraska had from the state of Florida?
Tell me, my brother.
0.
Tell me, my brother.
When we whooped them up 18-14 in Lincoln, Nebraska in 1980 and they shut down Tennessee Street, another one bites the dust was on the radio from Queen. Nebraska had 0 players from the state of Florida. Go look at Nebraska's roster right now and how it's constructed. More than half is from the state of Florida. The rest of it's from Oklahoma and Texas and California. But they got 40 to 50% from the state of Florida. Our state runs football. That's why we mention the big three. Even if they down, we mention them.
We very down. I'm very down.
He may be very down, but half his recruiting class that he loves is from the state of Florida.
You're right. The state of Miami. You got to take over the state of Miami, man. Come on, man.
Yo, look, up and down this state, we whooping up on people. That's why I don't believe in Arch Manning. I didn't see him against the state of Florida player, that Keon Keeley kid. I saw him play Berkeley Prep. That boy looked so human. He looked rattled and disturbed and afraid.
He's a human.
He looked like a Manning. I'm just telling you that right now.
Yeah, man.
Look, I want to play Texas. I'll play USC all day, every day. But that depth over at Georgia and Bama, you know why I picked Georgia. I said Georgia's not weak up the middle. Alabama, they got a little problem with their defensive tackle and their linebacker position. I'll admit that much. But outside of receiver, linebacker, and D tackle, Alabama is stout. They are proven. Like, Eli Ricks is real. He's a top 10 corner. Last time I checked.
Amen.
Did I not miss that?
Hey, man, it's Bama.
Oh, RDT, they my side team. USC is my side team too, but I know what USC is. They don't play defense. Their offensive line is kind of trash, even though they're trying to rap.
Supposed to be real damn talk.
Roll dang tide.
Oh, okay.
But
okay, I just want to make sure we was on the same page.
But yeah, man, roster construction is going to be big. Again, transfer portal. Grad students can enroll now or pick their teams now. Non-grad guys after December 1st through the 7th. Early signing day guys, they happen December 21st. Can y'all hold on to that class? You think you holding on to them?
Yes, I think
nobody gonna flip. Nobody else gonna flip.
The boy that flipped already did it.
Okay, so nobody else gonna flip.
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know.
I hope not.
Okay.
What could I say? I hope so. I hope not.
what about at UF? You think somebody flipping from their roster on their class? Because they got a top 8 class too.
Listen, I think this year alone, a lot of these kids are coming to try to be difference makers. So regardless of record,
they got that new coach smell right now. I give you that.
But regardless, like
it's a month though.
Yeah, but I think that goes to, I know for just speaking on Miami, Miami aspect of it, it's the coach you have there, the head coach. Now we're not talking about coordinators, but the head coach and the atmosphere he's trying to create. And I think a lot of kids are trying to buy, or not trying to, but are buying into that, and knowing that what Miami stood for these last couple years, we're weeding that out. And you can see that now with the mass exodus of people going out now. Because if you don't want to go in, DJ Ivey said in the interview, but if you don't want to work, don't come to Miami, because this is just what they putting in there now. That's why I think so many boys have been getting injured this shit. Like, you have the time, every other 3-4 players, somebody from Miami getting hurt.
Man, you
I'm being sarcastic, but I think working them boys like real deal.
I get the injuries. I don't even think it's working them real deal. I think it's just injury luck, man. It just happens.
Yeah, man.
Florida State was really fortunate in certain position groups where they didn't amass a lot of injuries, like the running back room. And again, people are like, do you need Trey Sanders after you have Kazai Holmes? You definitely
have enough
running backs, because how many running backs got hurt for y'all this year? 3, 4?
Yeah, man.
Out for the season, didn't play.
You can never have enough.
Exactly. So, yeah, Florida State's top 3 running backs didn't get hurt, but maybe 3 games with Trayshawn Ward.
If you can upgrade the room.
You upgrade the room. And that's what I'm getting at. You need depth. And these are the things that on the first year programs like like UF, like Miami, and then you got the third year program like us, who are looking to finally get in a good class of, not finally get in a good class, but really
get a
class of prep that it has difference makers like, Hakeem Williams, like Brock Glenn, like We got a chance, outside chance of Cedric Baxter. I don't know if we can pay that Texas money, but if
Yeah,
we get Texas,
I'm hoping the boys Miami get Mark Fletcher. He just decommitted from Ohio State.
yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know
That's-
what's going on in Ohio State. That's the second flip. Well, you got one flip and one decommit.
Okay, now here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Fletcher's heading to UF on the 9th.
Or something like that.
Yeah. So y'all got to fight for that last OV.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he even has any more OVs to take.
I think it's gonna be on officials, but
He around the corner. He gonna say
it's the race between UF and Florida. So
Yeah,
I
man.
mean, UF and Miami. So
Yeah, the last big piece for Florida State on the board is Cedric Baxter. Hopefully we can add Micah Mays and get DJ Holmes in the class from Palm Beach. But outside of that, Florida State really is trying to clear out 10 more roster spots through attrition or whatever the case may be for another relatively big transfer class. So long as we have the spots, the NCAA also took away the rule where you can only get a limited amount of transfers. Now it's if you have the roster spots up to 85, then you can do it.
That's why a lot of these classes have bigger classes because you got to think about the kids transferring out. So now you transferring out, you got more scholarship numbers for a recruiting class. So you seeing people coming in with 28, 29. That's the reason why.
Yeah, man, it's a great mix. It's gonna be fun. You can see the passion behind the off-season talk. It was nice talking about gambling and in season and this game and that game and finding these matchups. Now we can get to speculation and lies. We can lie about ourselves in these off seasons.
You hear me? So man, like I said, that's just another great rendition that you're gonna start getting more of in the next couple of weeks, couple of months.
Yeah.
And there's gonna be a lot of passionate, real deal questions being answered, and we're gonna answer them for you. So with that being said, I am your boy, Willie Love III.
And this is your number 16th ranked Ron Wells, Florida State Seminoles. Go chopping, baby.
Yeah.
Ride
I'm
with
still
the week.
gonna throw it up. Until next time, we see y'all boys.
All right. Peace.